I was about 8 when my mom and I first immigrated to Canada. It was a completely new experience, and though it took me time, I eventually settled in. But the things that I believed would last forever changed in an instant, when suddenly, I found myself moving to new cities and transferring schools. It was from then that I developed social anxiety. I had trouble making a conversation and eye contact. I eventually built emotional walls around myself. Then in grade 11, I had a dream where my mom and I were going to church together. That same day, my mom took me to church for the first time in years. I had a hunch that this couldn't be a coincidence. After, I attended Portage Avenue Church, and to my surprise, I was welcomed. I couldn't understand how the church could be so patient and so understanding until I got to know Jesus personally. And when I did, my whole life changed. In grade 12, I was engaged in the community. I found joy in serving with my gifts. Even when conflict within family arose, I had faith that God could restore what was broken. Then in June, when I graduated high school, the pandemic arose and my mother could not find employment in Canada. So we went to Korea for her to seek further studies. The problem was that I had initially planned to go to U of M, but there was an error in the system and I wasn't able to be accepted. I felt frustrated, questioning God. After a long family discussion, I went back to Canada alone and started living with a community church member. Little did I know, I began living together with 5 others, which gave me chances to practice socializing. During this time, I also learned a 3rd language and also learned the entire Bible by the end of the year. And because of the pandemic, my parents were living together and getting along better. It was then that I realized that God had always been working in my life, and all of what I thought was failure and misery was actually within God's plan. So reading the whole Bible for the first time, I developed a better understanding of God and His character. But perhaps the most important thing that I learned was that God always has a perfect plan and a perfect timing. I know that it was by God's will that through this gap year, I was able to accomplish more and grow more as a Christian. Although I'm still working on my social skills, I'm improving a little more each day. And just as how I'm improving now, I believe that God has a specific plan for each and every one of us, and in training us to overcome our obstacles and grow in our journey of faith. Thank you for listening to my testimony.